read-along audiobooks, the best of the classics. Little Red Riding Hood by Charles Perrault. Once upon a time, there was a little village girl, the prettiest ever seen or known. Her mother loved her very much. Her grandmother was even fonder of her, and had a little red hood made for the child. The hood suited her so well that wherever she went, she was known by the name of Little Red Riding Hood. One day, after her mother had baked some cakes, she said to Little Red Riding Hood, "Your grandmother is ill. Go visit her to see how she is doing. Take a cake and this little jar of butter." Little Red Riding Hood started off without delay towards the village in which her grandmother lived. On her way, she had to pass through part of a forest, and there she met that sly old fellow, Mr. Wolf. The wolf felt that he would very much like to eat her on the spot, but was afraid to do so with woodcutters at hand in the forest. He asked her which way she was going. The poor child, not knowing how dangerous it is to stop and listen to a wolf, answered, "I am going to see my grandmother. I am bringing a cake and a little jar of butter, which my mother sent her." "Does she live far from here?" asked the wolf. "Oh yes," replied Little Red Riding Hood, "on the further side of the mill that you see down there. Hers is the first house in the village." "Well, I was thinking of going to visit her myself," rejoined the wolf, "so I will take this path, and you take the other, and we will see which of us gets there first." The wolf then began running off as fast as he could along the shorter way, which he had chosen. The little girl went by the longer way, and amused herself by stopping to gather nuts, running after butterflies, and gathering all the flowers she could find. It did not take the wolf long to reach the grandmother's house. He knocked. Tap, tap. "Who is there?" "It is your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood," answered the wolf, imitating the child's voice. "I brought a cake and a little jar of butter, which my mother sent you." The good grandmother, who was ill in bed, called out, "Pull the bobbin, and the latch will go up." The wolf pulled the bobbin, and the door opened. He leaped onto the poor old woman and ate her in no time, for he had not eaten in 3 days. He then shut the door again and laid himself down in the grandmother's bed to wait for Little Red Riding Hood. Presently she came and knocked at the door. Tap, tap. "Who is there?" Little Red Riding Hood was frightened at first, hearing the wolf's gruff voice, but thinking that her grandmother had a cold, she answered, "It is your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought a cake and a little jar of butter which my mother sent you." The wolf called out, this time with a softer voice, "Pull the bobbin, and the latch will go up." Little Red Riding Hood pulled the bobbin, and the door opened. When the wolf saw her come in, he hid himself under the covers and said to her, "Put the cake and the little jar of butter in the cupboard, and come into bed with me." Little Red Riding Hood went to the bedside. She was very much surprised to see how different her grandmother looked compared to when she was up and dressed. "Grandmother," she exclaimed, "what long arms you have!" "All the better to embrace you with, my little girl." "Grandmother, what long legs you have!" "All the better to run with you, child." "Grandmother, what long ears you have. All the better to hear you, child. Grandmother, what large eyes you have. All the better to see you, child. Grandmother, what large teeth you have. All the better to eat you with. And saying these words, the wicked wolf sprang upon Little Red Riding Hood and ate her up. Now, children, take warning, and chiefly I pray, young girls so gentle and fair, when you come across all kinds of folks, have a care not to listen to what they may say, for it can't be thought strange if you do, should the wolf choose to eat up a few. The wolf I say here, for you will find wolves are many and varying kind. There are some easy-mannered and tame, without malice or temper the same, most obliging and sweet in their way, like to follow their tender young prey, and track them right into their homes to their end. Who among us has not learned by this time to know the most dangerous of wolves is the soft, smooth-tongued foe?